In this lecture, we're going to go over all of the built-in pipes provided by Angular, apart from the async pipe, which we'll cover in detail in a later lecture. By the end of this lecture, you will know the different built-in pipes provided by Angular and how to use them. So to demonstrate all of the different built-in pipes in Angular, I've created a sample application for us to play around with. So we have one basic app component at the bottom here. And this uses another component called pipe built-ins. And this is our pipe built-ins component above it. We just have a simple property of date val, which is just the current time. And I have a simple JSON val here as well, which is just a simple object. And we're just bootstrapping it and loading it on the page. Expanding out the template, we're using the card block, the Twitter Bootstrap card block style. And for each one, I've just created a stub block, one for each of the different pipes that I'll be demonstrating. So we've got the currency, date, decimal, JSON, etc., etc. And I'm just going to go through these one at a time, and I'm just going to flesh them out with examples of how to use each of the pipes. We'll start off with the currency pipe. This pipe is used for formatting currencies. Its first argument is an abbreviation of the currency. For example, for euro, it would be EUR. For US dollar, it would be USD, and so on. So if I have a number that I then want to format into GBP for Great British Pounds, I would then just enter the number. So we're going to use the mustache syntax. I'm going to use the number 1234.56. I pipe that with the pipe character, the vertical line character. The name of the currency pipe is just currency, so I pipe it into currency. And I pass the first parameter, and the first parameter to currency I'm going to pass is GBP for Great British Pounds as a string. Now we use the colon to signal that we're passing a parameter, and whatever we add after the colon is the first parameter. So now if I rerun the application, there we can see in the currency pipe, it's prepending GBP to the 1234.56, but also because we're over 1,000, it's using a comma separator for the 1,000 point, which is what we typically do with currencies. Now, if instead of the abbreviation of GBP, we wanted the currency symbol to be printed out, we would pass as a second parameter the Boolean true. So GBP is the first parameter, and then if I pass true and then rerun, it now prints out the currency symbol instead of just GBP. And the same goes for whatever currency we're using. So if it was USD, it then prints out the dollar symbol. And the next pipe we're going to look at is the date pipe. And this pipe is used for the transformation of, well, dates. And the first argument is the format string. So let's start off with using the date val. So if you remember from our component, date val is actually just a new instance of date, which just really means the date and time right now at this instance. So I type date val, the pipe character, and the date pipe, which is just this word date. I'm going to pass to it a parameter, so I add a colon, and the parameter I'm passing to it is something called a date format. And the thing I'm passing to it is something called a format string. Now it has many different forms, the format string. One useful format is just the text short capital T time. And if we run that, we can see it's actually just printing out the current time, and right now it's 3:23 p.m. in the afternoon. As well as short time, we can have full date. And there it prints out the full date, Saturday, October 29th, 2016. Or we can pass it an actual broken down date format string. So I'm going to pass in day, month, and year. Or I wanted to print out day, month, and year. So it's D for day, /M for month, /capital M, small case y for year. And then run that. And now it's printing out in this date format, 29/10/2016. you want to find out details about what you can provide for this format string, just go to the official Angular documentation for pipe, which you can just find by going to the angular.io, the docs, and just searching for date. Click on date pipe. Then if you scroll down, you can see here's the full list of the textual short forms, and then you can even break it down to get the exact format that you want, just with these special format characters here. That's date pipe. Now let's look at the next one, decimal pipe. So as you might guess, this pipe is used for the transformation of decimal numbers. Let me first write out one to begin with. I'm going to use the value of pi to play around with. And then we pipe it to the number pipe. Now the number pipe again takes a format string. Now the format of the format string is the minimum integer digits dot the minimum fraction digits hyphen the maximum fraction digits. So if I wrote 3.1-2, that means the minimum number of integer digits should be 3. The minimum fraction digits, the parts after the dot, should be 1. And the maximum fraction digits should be 2. So let's see what it prints out for us right now. So you can see it has printed out 3 integer digits. So it's had to prepend them with 0 because we didn't have 3 integer digits in our decimal number. And then it's maxed it out at 1, 4 because we've said the maximum number of fraction digits should be 2. Like we could try out with different numbers. So perhaps we want to do 1 and then 4, 4. And then you can see it's printing out 1 integer digit because it's just 3. And then it's printing out 4 decimal digits. Sorry, 4 fractional digits. That's decimal pipe. Now let's have a look at JSON pipe. So the JSON pipe transforms a JavaScript object into a JSON string. Now we have a JSON string on our component called JSON val. So if we were to just try and print out JSON val, let's see what it does. You can see it just prints out, well, object, because when you call toString on a JavaScript object, this is what it returns. We don't want this, we want the content of the object, so we pipe it through the JSON pipe, and then once we run that, you can see it's actually printing out the contents of the object. Next up, we have the lowercase pipe and uppercase pipe. So as you might guess, the lowercase pipe turns a text lowercase. So if I pass it the string capital async, and the pipe is called lowercase, and we run this, we get async printed in lowercase. And if we do the same for the uppercase pipe, it's called uppercase, and I pass in lowercase async, we then get uppercase async printed out. We also have the percent pipe, which formats a number as a percent. So I'm going to format the number 0.123456, pipe it to percent, and let's just see what that prints out to begin with. So as you can see, it prints out 12.3456%, which is 12.3456%. But we can also pass to percent a decimal format string in the same format as our decimal pipe. So I don't want to show all those decimal places. I want to limit it to 2. So I will then pass in a decimal format string, which is saying I want 2 integer digits, and then a minimum of 1 fraction digit and a maximum of 2 fraction digits. So if I run this, you can then see it's printing 12.35%. And finally, for this lecture, I'm going to talk about the slice pipe. So the slice pipe returns a slice of an array. And by a slice of an array, I mean it kind of cuts a part of an array and lets us extract that out. So the first argument to the pipe is the start index of the slice, and the second argument is the end index of the slice. If either of those indexes are not provided, it assumes the start or the end of the array. And we can also use negative indexes to indicate an offset from the end. So I create an array with 6 values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I pipe that to the slice pipe, and to begin with, the first argument I want to say is the starting index. I'm going to say 1, and the second argument is the end index. I'm going to say 3. So let's see what this prints out. So it prints out 2 and 3 because it started at 1. Arrays are 0 indexed. So this is 0, then 1, but it includes 1, it includes 2, and it ends at 3. So it doesn't include the third one. So slice 1 to 3, it includes the first one, but doesn't include the third one. So it includes the first and second index. If we just skip out the last one, and if we just say slice 2, it just returns from the second index all the way to the end. So 0, 1, this is the second one, and it returns everything else all the way up to the end, so 3, 4, 5, 6. And we can also use negative indexes. So if I provided -1 as the last parameter, that means everything from the second index to 1 from the end. So then that prints out 3, 4, 5 because 1 from the end is 5. And we can use these slices even in an ng4 expression. So if at the bottom here I create a list, so if I create an ng4 loop on an li element, I'm looping over the array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but the array after it's been piped through this slice pipe, then it's just going to print out that item in the li tag. So if I run this, you can see it's just printing out a list of 3, 4, and 5, which is the same as the output of this array after it's been piped through this slice pipe. There's another built-in pipe in Angular, and it's the async pipe. So this pipe accepts an observable or a promise and lets us render the output of that observable or promise without having to call either the then or the subscribe functions. We are going to take a much deeper look at this pipe at the end of this section. So in summary, pipes enable you to easily transform data for display purposes in templates. Angular comes with a very useful set of pre-built pipes to handle the most common transformations. And one of the more complex pipes to understand in Angular is the async pipe, and that's what we'll cover next.